Hi, everyone. Steve Adubato here, representing a terrific team of producers and team members at the Caucus Educational Corporation. To the members of the Board of Trustees at the Terrell Fund at your board meeting, I want to introduce you to what you're about to see. This is a series of interviews with state officials, federal officials, people who care deeply about childcare in the state and nation, part of our Reimagined Childcare Initiative. In fact, one of the people you're going to see, first person, is United States Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. Let the Congresswoman tell you what she thinks about reimagined childcare, the difference we are making. And that sounds great. It is great. But some might say talk is cheap. What do I mean by that? While you hear all these people talk about their commitment to childcare, quality, affordable, accessible childcare as part of reimagined childcare, the question is, where are the dollars? State, federal. On the state level, State Senator Teresa Ruiz, you've seen her many times with us. She's a leader in this movement. We're not advocating, we're educating. But those dollars need to be allocated to where they need to go. And what about the federal government? The Congresswoman, Mikey Sherrill, talks about a fiscal cliff, if you will, a cliff as it relates to child care. Where are the federal dollars? Where's the commitment there? Talk is talk. Resources are resources. There is great work to be done, important work to be done in reimagined childcare as you listen to the state and federal and other officials and leaders in the world of childcare be a part of reimagining childcare. You have said there's a childcare crisis and we're about potentially be falling off the federal funding cliff for childcare. What exactly does that mean and what role are you playing to keep us from falling off that cliff, please?
Well, Steve, first of all, you really have been on a public awareness campaign, and I want to thank you for it because I think for too many years, this was seen as a problem of moms. They just had to figure it out on their own. And I can tell you, my oldest just turned 18 this weekend, and I still have nightmares about how awful it was 18 years ago trying to figure out how I was going to get her into quality and affordable childcare and get back to work. And it was awful then, it's worse now.
We also want to move away from the nomenclature of daycare, right? Because I think the
Try,
reality
try
of
that again. This is a big one because words matter, expressions matter,
yes.
framing the narrative matters. Please, Assistant Commissioner.
So I think because I think my back goes up every time I hear people say daycare, because I know that our early learning community and childcare community are really educating children every single day. And I think in order for staff to be able to be seen as professionals and seen the same as they are in the public school system, we have to get away from looking at it as if we're just babysitting or providing daycare to children.
Every agency of state government has some kind of overlap with childcare, but I think it's especially strong with the Department of Human Services. And that's really because at its core, it's an agency that is meant to serve and protect children, families, individuals, and essentially make sure that people are secure, that they are stable, and that they have opportunities.
Childcare is so critical to economic success in our state and across the nation. And we knew as a result of COVID that childcare needed to be an area of focus because a thriving childcare system means a stronger economy. It means more jobs, more inclusive economic growth. It means better outcomes for our kids.
It was important that my children get to see other parents, other community leaders, other children, and building this community where we seeing examples of success. We seeing examples of stick to itness in our community that we're building. Because unfortunately, we don't get to see this a lot around the state because we're locked into our 4-block radiuses or the community that we're involved in. I want to open that up. And that's why parents engaging parents was so important.
The reason quality, affordable childcare is so important, party aside, politics aside, is?
Well, because you want everyone to have an opportunity to work. Childcare is absolutely essential for people who want to work. So, yeah, that's something we all need to work together on a bipartisan basis. Absolutely, Steve.
Do you sense, Ms. Jones, that we're any closer to acknowledging, recognizing, and respecting the role of child care professionals and paying them accordingly?
Respectfully, I would say not yet. Or when it comes to infant toddler programming, those dollars are not yet sufficient to provide what I believe would be more meaningful compensation.
Especially when you deal with single mothers, they need to be able to have access to child care. Otherwise, they are going to be jailed, by their home life and taking care of a very small child. There is no doubt about that.
Without the child tax credit, you cannot have moms or working families go to work and pay their bills.
We are still seeing a childcare crisis in large part because of a staffing issue.
That's right.
Minimum wage has gone up gradually in New Jersey. And so childcare centers, small businesses are paying minimum wage, and they are competing against other industries that can pay more.
Right here in Jersey, I'm just talking to parents that just can't afford to be able to have their kids go to childcare, which is then having an impact on our workforce. You know, dads and moms are not able to go to work because they're struggling to get childcare. That impacts our entire economy. That impacts our workforce at a time when we're struggling to fill jobs.
Look, at the end of the day, we know who really owns and operates these childcare centers are women. This is a female-dominated field. And we saw workforce participation by women go down to levels of the 1980s during COVID.
The state of child care in as we tape this 2023, particularly in urban communities.
Incredibly fragile, probably even more fragile than it was at the height of the pandemic. I think we're really concerned about the ability to operate programs. We don't need to stabilize childcare. We need to reform childcare delivery in the state once and for all.
The role of the media in terms of public information and awareness, childcare.
We need to keep having these conversations. We cannot allow the conversation to be over because the problem isn't solved. And it will make a difference on how the economy thrives and how families thrive.
Megan, final words. Silver lining?
My silver lining is that you and other media outlets are still talking about it, because I think when we take our foot off that pedal, that is very easy to get overridden by a lot of other social issues that are coming up as well. So I thank you and other media outlets for continuing the conversation so that nobody is under the false assumption that we are done.